All right, hello and welcome. I'm so excited. Today we have a very special session. This is part of the Seven-Figure Agency podcast at our Agency Success Growth Master Series. Today I'm joined by Josh Konigsberg, our 2021 Agency of the Year here at Seven-Figure Agency. You know, we're helping digital marketing agencies grow and scale, and we've got about 250 agencies in the program. And every year we look at all of the agencies in the group, and we've got some amazing world-class agencies in the program delivering amazing results, growing and scaling. But we look at the entire group and we kind of look at who's had the most revenue growth, the most new client growth, the percentage of revenue growth, the best client retention. And we kind of stack up all those metrics and we proclaim one agency of the year. And this year, Josh Konigsberg, Andy Leonard, and his group at LawFirmMarketingPros are the unquestioned agency of the year. So I'm excited to have Josh with us. And Josh, congratulations on the amazing year you guys had.
Hey, Josh, thanks again. Couldn't have done it without you. It's been a tremendous ride. You know, we're at, I think, 28 months since we joined, officially launched in January of 2020 as LawFirmMarketingPros as the brand, and the rebrand. It's been a 5X growth. It's just been tremendous.
So good. So guys, if you're excited and you're watching this live, give me a yes, give me a one. We're going to talk with Josh about how he's grown, how he's scaled, kind of how he's taken things to the next level. But before we dive in, Josh, just kind of give us a quick introduction of LawFirmMarketingPros, kind of what you do and kind of where you guys are at in the business today.
So obviously we're a digital marketing agency for lawyers, specific to lawyers. We do, I think, every possible area of digital marketing with the exception of apps, which there's not a ton of an application for that for law firms anyway. We are, the one thing that we're working on right now outside of our existing services is a TikTok program. So we know we're going in that direction. So that's who we are. Where we're at is about 90 clients. Our MRR projected for March is 290,000.
Wow, so good.
Yeah, it's been tremendous, and that could easily, by the time I see everybody at the intensive in Miami, that could easily be at 330, 350. There's that much in the pipeline, and we're not doing any cold outreach. So it's just all been referrals. And we don't want to do any cold outreach just yet because we want to be able to manage the growth because our reputation is so important to us. And when I say reputation, I'm not talking about agency of the year reputation. I'm talking about reputation with us being able to do what we say and fulfill at the level that we want to fulfill to keep our clients happy, keep them engaged, and keep them getting wins month over month. As I like to say, and most of those of you who heard me speak, look, at the end of the day, you need qualified leads that are easily convertible to clients day over day, week over week, month over month, and year over year. And that's what we continue to try to show our clients. And we do. And it's a big testament to the team behind, and I don't want to say behind me because Andy's by my side, but behind Andy because he's running that team. And it's just been tremendous. So
good. So multiple seven figures. I think it was like over $100,000 MRR growth over the course of the year. And obviously delivering world-class results and retaining at a very high level. Would love just to kind of take one step back and just kind of tell us a little bit about, you know, Josh, personally, how you got involved in digital marketing and kind of how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah, so I'm a serial entrepreneur and a serial marketer. So, and I've had to reinvent myself multiple times over my career. I'll be 61 next week. Okay, but don't tell anybody. Okay.
You don't look a day over 50.
Thank you. Basically, not to get into detail, I lost everything about 10, 11 years ago. Everything. So, and again, for those of you who don't know me, some of you heard a story. I was a full-time single parent raising 2 children on my own. I had a preteen and a teenager, and I lost it all. So I had to start over again and reinvent myself. Natural entree in, I'll leave the name out, but someone we both know said, hey, you know how Google has that map now on a search results page? And I'm going back 10 years when they first introduced, I guess it was Google Places or Google Plus or something, whatever they called it back then. I think I figured out how we can help businesses get there. And this is a great opportunity for businesses to drive traffic and qualified leads. So we started out really doing Google Plus. And our first client was my family law attorney who got me full custody of those 2 children.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah,
Cool.
so I met with her, I laid it out, and she wrote me a check on the spot, right? So I thought it was going to be easy. And you've been down that road before, Josh. So you know that when you're a general agency, it's not easy. My second phone call was a lifelong family friend who's a chiropractor in Fort Lauderdale. Called him up, said, listen, I'm doing something new. I got to show it to you. I think you're going to love it. I met him. We had lunch. We come back to the office. I'm going to give you a check right now. Just that, like, wow, this is really going to be easy. So then I did all the traditional networking. You know, I did the BNI groups and all the other networking that you do, and the breakfast, lunch, dinner, running myself absolutely ragged, right? And we were able to build the agency over years, not tremendously, because we had a lot of attrition, right? As you do when you're a generalist agency. So I guess it was we sat down as a team in August or July or August of 2019 and actually laid out a 5-year plan and decided we needed a niche. This is before I even met you. We laid out a plan to niche, and we had selected 3 niches to focus on. And it was either going to be dental, law, or plastic surgery. We had about 50% of our clients were attorneys, and we were knocking it out of the park for every one of them. More so than, and listen, we did great for plastic surgeons and great for the dentists, but just seemed to always nail it for attorneys. So it was a natural progression, and as you and I have since discussed, it ends up being the right choice for a multitude of reasons, right? So I think I got an email forwarded to me about your roadmap in August of 2019, and it was in September. Right. And I never forget, because the first person I met other than you and Yesenia was Harry. Right. And Harry and I, yeah, right. And Harry and I have a great relationship. I don't know if you're watching, Harry, but love you, bro. You know, we have a great relationship. So went to the roadmap, called Andy. I said, Andy, I've got the solutions for us. We've got to have a conversation with Josh Nelson. And we signed up in October of 2019. So
good.
Yeah.
So good. I think, what were you at approximately MRR at that point?
Yeah. So we were fluctuating, you know, how the typical, you know, 65, 62, 68, 71, you know, I think our best month ever was like 74. So we were, you know, just teetering on being able to hit that 7-figure mark. And again, it was not just the roadmap and signing up. It was shortly thereafter I think it was early November, you had the intensive. And at the intensive, you asked us to stay and attend the mastermind session, which I'm so glad we did. And, you know, we signed up immediately for the mastermind. And, you know, we haven't looked back. I mean, we created the brand. We didn't do a lot until we created the brand, only because in my mind, the way attorneys think, right, probably a little different than, because they're used to breaking down cases, right, and looking at discovery, and so it's probably a little different than, let's say, a plumber or even a dentist, right? So they're much more critical from a business standpoint. So that was so from basically end of October, first week in November till January 1, we pulled the brand together, got the website done, I got the guide done, everything. It was nonstop. So yeah, it's been great.
So good. So kind of this decision to go from generalist to really double down on the law firms, right, has been a critical lever in kind of growing the business. If you had to look back at like 3 other critical changes in the business to go from that 60K to the 300K range that you're at now, 290, what were like those top 3 things, would you say?
So the first thing was packaging. Right. And I remember the exact words out of your mouth when I showed you our little spreadsheet of our packages, you know, the matrix and you were like, make it stop. Because it was confusing and made sense to me, but it was somewhat confusing. So, and at the time we were offering Google My Business, I want to say it was $4.95 per month per location. We had layered in a little bit of social media, some blogs, but we were really solely focused. And that's what, again, our entree was Google My Business. So the big thing in my mind, and that what you've imparted, I've heard you say it over and over again to other agencies, is you can get more money. You can charge more for the services. And yes, you're going to lose some. And that was my big concern. So that, now that I've got one client, it's $25,000 a month, not counting his click budget, right? So as I mentioned this morning, I signed up another client at $5,000. We're over $4,000 a month on average. And that's still with clients that are still paying $495 a month from 7 years ago, right? 8 years ago. So being able to charge more for our services was a big thing. I want to say our launch was a huge thing, meaning how we launched the client from intake, from the time they sign up till all the way through the what we'll call the 90-day build phase, and the ability and having a system of communication back and forth that just absolutely wows them. And it's funny, I signed up a guy earlier in the month, and I got an email from him like 2 days ago. He says, "This is unbelievable, Josh. It's amazing." So just to see that and hear that kind of feedback, so impressed with your staff. So to me, I think that getting them up and on board and starting to get them wins in the first 60 and 90 days is a huge thing. Because again, if you're doing just GMB like we were and some social media, they're not getting wins for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, right? So yeah. So, and as much as you manage those expectations, they're still going to be frustrated on their part because they're continuing to have to pay every month, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that was one of the other big things. And if I was going to pick a third, there's many. I think, I tend to lean on the sales and marketing side, right? I think just having the support of the group, and not just you, but I'm talking about the Facebook group, when we have a resource that we can go to get answers, as well as, hey, we've implemented this, so now we're doing EOS, and we've talked to Danny Barrera a bunch of times, and we've gotten feedback from so many members, and as we impart wisdom and share what we're learning, same thing. That's been just tremendously helpful. And then me as a mentor, as I'm teaching other agency owners, that's just been tremendously helpful for me, because I've actually learned some stuff from some of the other members, and from the other member mentors, but also in refining my own game and in sales. So yeah,
I love that you said that. You guys, Josh specifically, you've been an amazing asset to the 7-figure agency, kind of stepping into the mentor role, helping the other members. And I'm really a big believer in this concept. You learn it, you do it, you get results with it, and then mastery comes from teaching it, right? And you've embraced this really, really wholeheartedly, like showing up, giving your best to the members, helping them learn to sell better, helping them learn how to upsell. And it's amazing to hear that, like, you're giving, but you're also getting back as a function of that process. Yeah,
that's more so than I ever would have dreamed.
Yeah, so, I love it. And I think great. Like last year or the year prior, your theme for the year was impact, right? It was impacting your clients, impacting the people you engage with.
Year, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I get compliments every day. And people say, man, Josh at his Tuesday sales skills session and kind of what he's sharing is so impactful. And you've helped so many other agencies up the steps as you've been growing yourself. So
well, thank you. Appreciate that. I love doing it. I can't, I do it all day long. So
amazing. So like shifted to niche focused, simplified your packaging instead of having an infinite supply of things, kind of a very concise program with rungs of upsells that kind of had at a higher price point. Dialing in the onboard process to create that wow, world-class experience. And then just knowing you've got a peer group of people you can go to, like, we need help with this, we need help with that, we need support with this. What were kind of some of the key things that help to move you guys forward?
Absolutely. And so we've grown from a staffing standpoint. I'm trying to remember the number we had when we joined you. I want to say it was 5 or 6, maybe 7 to, now it's 40 people. Including myself and Andy. So, that's not an easy thing. That's probably the hardest thing, actually, right? So, having the ability to recruit higher quality people because we are charging more for our services makes perfect sense. And I'm now describing that to our clients. Look, we're not going to be the low cost provider, right? and here's why. And they're like, oh, wow, okay, that makes perfect sense. And they're actually using that as a lesson in their own hiring process, because as we have them grow, they're going to need more staffing themselves to fulfill for their clients. I want to touch a little bit back. I want to go back to the pricing, because what we've been able to do is create what I call a vertical stack of services. And if you think of it the way the banking industry does it, right? So if you go to if you have a checking account at the bank and you decide to change banks, you only need to move one account. Not a big deal. But what the banks, what their model is, hey, we want savings, checkings, mortgage, car payments. We're now selling them insurance. So the more services they have, the harder it is for you to leave the bank. Same basic concept. Yep. And then the other concept that we've been able to generate, and I remember the first intensive when I stood up and I talked about this. Back then I was talking about upsells, but now really they are strategic marketing enhancements. So that I've set the client up from day one on a plan that they know if they want to achieve their goals and objectives over the next 24 months and beyond, they're going to need to continue to invest more money. And where are they going to look to invest that marketing dollar? They're going to look to us, as long as we're fulfilling services. And that's been, as much as I'd love to say, hey, there's more leads coming in than I know what to do with, a significant portion of our growth has been strategic marketing enhancements. Every month, it seems that we're getting more and more and more. And something as simple as November sending an email out, hey, do you have your marketing plan in order for 2022? Schedule, your free strategy session with Josh. And next thing you know, I got 5 enhancements for the month of December, and 3 more right now that couldn't get to me and are now looking to do it. So to me, that's found money, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I think it's something a lot of agencies miss, because they have the retainer fee, whatever it is, $1,500, $2,500 a month, and that's what they want to sell, and they think that that's the box that they're in, right? That's how much they can charge. No matter how much more they do, they've got that fee coming in. I think you've done a really good job delineating, like, here's our fee, but here's what we can do in addition as you grow, and kind of take that $2,500 base to, like you said, up to $25,000 a month.
Right. Exactly. And think of it like we all experience this every day as consumers. If you go to buy a car, they're going to try to sell you this and that and all these upgrades on your car, and then you get the insurance for the wheels and the tires, and et cetera, right? So that's the model we're used to. If you've ever built a house, it's the same thing. The builders don't make all their money building a house; they make all their money on the upgrades of the house, right? Yeah. So, and I've been down that path.
And to be clear, it's not just charging more for the sake of charging more. You're connecting that to their outcomes and goals, right? If they're an attorney doing $1 million a year and their goal is to get to 3, like you're just making it clear that, yeah, we'll do this, but really we need to do this, that, and the other. And we can do that with a positive ROI. And that's why it makes sense to add these things to the equation.
Right. And I share with them that, look, this is budget driven. And you can't expect to achieve a 2 or 3x over the next 24 months on the same budget that you have today. That's insanity. And I get 100% buy-in on that. So
love it. So good. So if you don't mind, like for the listeners, for the watchers, just high level, like what does your program look like, and what are some of those vertical stack enhancements that you put in place?
Yeah. So we just had a price increase, and we changed our base level package. So we have 3 plans. We have the associate plan, the partner plan, and the market leader plan. The associate plan, we just pivoted to adding, because we didn't have, we were trying to get a low cost entry price in below $2,000 for the clients. And we didn't have PPC in there. So look, let's get them sorted. And the problem we were running into is, even though, let's say it was I think it was $19.50 a month or something like that, they're paying 5, 6, 7, 8 months before the phone starts ringing, because we're doing social media, we're doing Google My Business, we're doing local SEO, and they're just not getting any wins. So we decided,
that's a powerful insight for all of you guys, right? Make sure you've got program, ideally that's got some organic and some paid combined. That way, sometimes the organic just takes off, right? It's like, hey, we win, but it's not 100% of the time.
You can't.
So having a blended solution, like what Josh just said there, is as part of your base, you can more consistently deliver the outcomes that the clients want. So anyways, just want to interject, keep going.
Yeah, and in my mind, you don't want just a PPC standalone product. Yeah, because if they run out of click budget, or it's just especially in law, especially in PI and criminal defense. It is so expensive. I saw a click not too long ago in Las Vegas, $1,440 a click, right? So, right.
And we've actually found the same in plumbing, right? You know, it's something about the low cost variable of organic leads and the high cost of paid, but blended, it works. SEO by itself, you're going to have hit and miss. Pay-per-click by itself, you're going to have hit or miss, but the combination gives you a pretty consistent outcome.
And it's even more than that, Josh. We call it the halo effect, because because the organic is they're going to get found in other directories on the organic, right? So it creates kind of a halo around it. And the other thing that we say, and it is so true, is that by layering in the SEO with the PPC, you're going to drive down your customer acquisition cost, because you don't have to pay for those leads. So that significantly is going to reduce your customer acquisition cost. Now, at the same time, if there happens to be a Google algorithm update and we lose our rankings for a few weeks, you can throttle it. So the difference being is you can throttle your PPC budget, and you can increase your geographic presence with it, and it's faster. We can have your program up and running, and typically it's about 45 days by the time we turn it on. Your first bill won't be for 60 days or so, and your phone's ringing. So, and that's so important. So our associate plan includes Google My Business, pay-per-click, and I want to say we do some light content, like I think it's a bi-monthly blog, and I think that's just about it. You know, of course, they're getting a website. Everybody gets a worry-free website with us, right? They get a brand new website every 24 months. So they get the website, they get the hosting, they get the ongoing optimization, et cetera, et cetera. So all the other stuff that we have to do. The analytics, they love the agency analytics. Absolutely love it. They're blown away by it. So, and then obviously we're using CallRail. And so that's the base package.
Okay.
That is $2,450. And then I'm going to come back to the strategic marketing enhancements in just a minute, because I offer that on all my packages. And this is really important for everybody to understand, because I do a downsell, and it's a multi-level downsell that I offer, and it works tremendously. So the next package up is called the partner plan. So we're going to do our organic, and you've seen this, our proprietary organic local search supremacy program, right? So they're getting a new website, they're getting Google My Business location. They're getting our local search supremacy program. They get 10 cities per keyword bundle. So they get one keyword bundle. So I'll describe a keyword bundle to make it easy for everybody. Let's just say it's family law. Family law keyword bundle would be, I'll use divorce. So it's divorce attorney, divorce lawyer. This is what people are searching, right? Divorce law firm, divorce law office. Those 4 keywords have the plural variation. So 4 go to 8. 8 then grows exponentially as there's various permutations of that search: the best, nearby, near me, the city name, etc. So 4 keywords ultimately turns into about 50 or 60 keywords. So it's a bundle of keywords. So they get that as part of the program. So we have the website, we have Google Business Profile. They've got our that's one of the other things I forgot on the associate. They get our reputation marketing program called Top Rated Law Firm, and it is, and I've seen every program on the market. You've seen ours. It is hands down industrial strength. And if you want to go with something else, I tell them, you're not for me. Either you want what's the value of having the best reputation in your market for what you do. It's priceless, and they all say that. So I get buy-in at that level. For the reputation marketing program, Top Rated Law Firm. They're getting a monthly blog and a quarterly press release. They're getting 3x a week social media posts on Google, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Hosting, monitoring, and maintenance, conversion optimization, Google best practices, maintenance, and that program is $47.50 a month. Okay, and then our market leader program, which includes everything I just described, except they're getting 2 keyword bundles instead of 1. They're getting a bigger website because I capped the number of pages. I think it's 50 pages on the partner and 65 pages on the market leader. They're getting 5 posts a week on social media, and then they get our our version of the high level CRM if they need it. A lot of attorneys already have something, so they get that, and they get what we've branded digital lead funnels, which is ClickFunnels Facebook ad campaign on steroids. And that certain niches within law love it. It doesn't apply to all niches. Like it's tough to do on PI or criminal defense, but family law and estate planning and bankruptcy, it works fabulously for. So that plan is $69.97 a month. So it's almost $7,000 a month. And I have not pitched anyone on that plan yet. I didn't get any pushback yesterday on the plan. Oh, but I didn't say newsletters. They get a newsletter, too, monthly newsletter. So I didn't pitch any. I picked the deal I closed this morning was a strategy session from last night, and that was the partner plan. No pushback at all. So I lay this out for them on a spreadsheet. So I go through, here's what you get. After I've done everything, after I went through the strategy session, showed them the case studies. They're looking at a similar law in a similar size market. Look at the growth rate. I asked the great questions. Look, did you see yourself achieving similar results with LawFirmMarketingPros as your digital marketing partner? Everybody says, of course they can, right? Okay. So that's a setup question, by the way. And I'll get back to that in a second. At this point, I show them what they get in our menu. It's a services menu. And then I jump into the spreadsheet where I've laid out year over year. Last year, this is the number of cases that you got. This was your average case value. Your area of the law needs to be 8, 9, 10% of your marketing, of your revenue needs to be spent on marketing. If they tell me a higher number, I use the higher number. Right. I had somebody tell me, yeah, it's 15%. I said, well, we could probably beat that, but I'll show you what it looks like. Right. So so when I lay this out for them in a spreadsheet, they're looking at, let's say, the partner plan or the market leader plan is $69.97. And then because attorneys oftentimes have multiple locations, they need a Google My Business for that location or Google Business Profile. So I have that as a line item. And then next to that, or underneath that, the next line item I have is top rated law firm. They need reviews for that location. If you're going to have a GMB location in another city, you're going to need reviews for it, right? And so I lay that out. And then because they're a practitioner, doctors, dentists, and attorneys can have a practitioner listing. So I show them how they can leverage the power of what I call a partner listing, that they can have a digital billboard and have a larger digital footprint. And again, I'm going to go back to creating omnipresence, right? By creating a larger digital footprint. And I'm going to put you in a category of 1. Let me show you how I'm going to put you in that category of 1 by giving you the best reputation in the market. And you're everywhere there where they look, right? So, and they see that over and over again. It's real powerful statements, right? Oh, yeah. So we have strategic marketing enhancements of additional Google My Business locations. And some of these attorneys already have locations, so it's real easy for them. Some of them are going to have to, go find a Regis, or Regises are tough, but they'll have to find an executive suite or talk to another attorney and rent space from another attorney, right? I will also layer in additional keyword bundles for let's say for family law. And typically it stops at 3, depending on if there's a real specialty of family law they like. So we've got divorce law, we've got family law, we've got child custody. Sometimes they're going to take alimony or prenups. That's fine. We can add those later. So now I've taken, let's say, $69.97, and the next thing you know, I'm at $9,500 plus a click budget for both Facebook and Google, right? So now we're at $15,000, $18,000, and I know that we're over budget based upon the spreadsheet that I showed you. Let's start to talk about what's going to work best now, and we can come back and add this in 6 months, 8 months, 9 months when we have proof of concept. So now I trimmed that number back down from 9,500. Now they're at, let's say, 7,800. I'm still over my base price, right? And now they're teed up for the future of more strategic marketing enhancements. Now, if that's still too much for them, I automatically have set up on the spreadsheet a tab for the partner plan. So now we're starting at $4,750, and we've got $695 for that, and $595 for that, and $1,190, whatever the numbers are, and that $4,750 becomes $6,200, and I pare that back down to $5,700. And okay, I can afford that. You're right, Josh. Right, and that's how I do it.
So good. Hey guys, type helpful in comments if it was helpful to hear how he's breaking down his pricing and his program. Super generous to share that, and kind of like, extremely powerful how you've structured it and the thought process of you taking them through a consultative sales process. Where are your goals? Where are you at today? What are you looking to accomplish? How much are you putting back into marketing? Okay, let's show you what it's going to take to make that happen, right? Here's how much you need to spend. Here's where that would go. Get buy-in throughout every step of the way, and then walk them through best. Okay, but if you can't do that, then let's go down one. If you can't do that, let's go down one. While at the same time, seeding all of the ancillary things, the keyword bundles and the GMB locations and the practitioner listings. Fantastic. I think you're one of the best at doing this. And this sales skill sessions that you do on Tuesdays for Seven Figure Agency just have really helped the members get better at positioning this, explaining it, and closing at a much higher level.
Yeah, and it works. It takes time. And the key that makes it work is when I'm showing them the case studies and agency analytics, and they can see a bar graph that Google My Business is representing 60 to 65% of their leads. Their organic is going to be another 20%. 80 to 90% of the time, that's higher than the Facebook ads. So what I demonstrated to them is, look, we're going to be able to drive down your customer acquisition costs over time by getting you leads these other ways. And now you're actually spending less money, or you can choose to reinvest it in more keyword bundles, for example. And that makes perfect sense, Josh. So
love it. Hey, so thanks for breaking that down. A lot of people here I'm seeing on the Facebook saying, wow, that's a high price. That's a lot of money. And you're right? In the absence of two key things. First, understanding the average case value and the return on investment you're going to drive. And second, your ability to show case studies and validate the ROI. And so let's talk about the world-class results that you guys deliver, because they're talking about some of your top tier clients and the results that you guys get.
Yeah. So first and foremost, you read, and you've lived this, you've experienced it. You reach a point where, do I want to deal with the client that can only invest $1,000 a month and kind of spoon feed them along? And what happens with those clients, as you know, is they're going to take up a lot of time of your staff, right? Because they're so desperate for business. So I refer them out to other agencies that need the help. I took those clients on years ago, but I've actually laid out a spreadsheet of annual revenue for a law firm, and it got from 200,000 a year to 5 million a year. And then I've got 10 tabs across the bottom, 8%, 9%, 10%, all the way up to 25%, which is what a personal injury firm would probably have to spend on marketing. I'm not saying they have to invest all that with us, because they're buying billboards and TV, etc. So I can go to that matrix, to that spreadsheet, and I can say, okay, you're doing $1 million a year. And I can tell you right now, your monthly budget needs to be this amount. And if we're in a position, which we are, where I can say, hey, you're not the right fit, but I do know someone. I just actually did this last week. The attorney was so grateful that I made an introduction to another seven-figure agency member. They were like, oh my God, I can't believe you're willing to do this for us. And well, it's the right thing to do, right? So
I think I'm just going to interject right there. So one key thing Josh has done, and this is the agency of the year with massive growth, is to pivot from taking anybody to recognizing there's a percentage of the prospect base that are higher level, that have more financial resources, that are more growth oriented. And those are the kind of clients you want to work with, right? That you're going to thrive with. That's
right. So, and it is expensive and it's worth it. And when I showed demonstrable results that they're saying, 400% ROI is our worst client. And they're like, oh my God, where's that ATM machine? And I've got a client that's a 2,100% ROI right now. And so yeah, it's expensive, but it's worth it. So that's how they look at it. Remember, and look, you've got plumbers with 10 trucks, 20 trucks. There's probably a threshold. You're probably not taking anybody below 2, 3, or 4 trucks, right? Because I want to save that territory, that city, for somebody who's willing to invest that amount of money.
Yep.
Right. And I'm okay with that. So that when the referrals are coming in, and the last 2 referrals that I got were attorneys that both are in excess of $1 million a year. And they both know they need to make a decision like immediately, because they're with Scorpion. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but they're with Scorpion. They need to make it. They need to pivot.
Switch.
Right. So they need to pivot. So they want to be aggressive. So they don't have a problem. I thought for a while, yeah, could I charge more? Can I go from $37.50 to $47.50? Can I go from $59.97 to $69.97? $1,000 a month to an attorney that's getting $11, $12, $15,000 case value. It doesn't affect the way they look at this, unless they're below that threshold of, let's say, $300,000 a year, in which case it's not the right fit for us.
So good. So good. So I think all of you guys need to recognize you can charge more for whatever niche you're in, right? There's people in plumbing charging $5,000 a month and more. So you can absolutely charge more, but you need to back it up. You need to back it up with results. You need to back it up with case studies, and you need to deliver the goods, right? Don't just charge more and fail, right? That's not an option. And like you're dealing with some of the biggest and best attorneys in the country.
So there's a threshold of let's call it a number of attorneys that they have. Let's call it 7 partners and 25 associates. They're probably not going to be working with us. They're probably going to manage
too big, right? Too big. They've already got a whole team and all of that.
Yeah, and I've had those conversations. First of all, the buying cycle for those guys is that's got to go to the board, and I actually have a couple of them in the pipe right now, and it's just slow going, and that's okay. I'll leave them in the pipe, and if I get one of them, I get one of them. But they're a lot of them are just 150-year-old firms, and they're yellow pages and billboards, right? So, and that's their mindset, right? So and in terms of fulfillment, and again, you can't do it unless you can demonstrate that you truly are fulfilling and getting them qualified leads on a consistent basis. It might not be day over day, but it's got to be week over week, month over month, and year over year. You have to be able to demonstrate that. So for those of you out there who are not 7-figure agencies yet, and you're only doing you're at whatever stage of 20,000 a month or 10,000 a month or 30,000, you've got to take those clients on. You can't, it takes time to get there. I mean, May, we're gonna we start our 11th year in May. So we've been around, right? So, we've earned it.
Got to cut your teeth, right? You got to take what you can get at the beginning, and you start to prove yourself, prove your wins, and then you can move up the value ladder.
And there's a lot.
You can be attractive to those larger companies.
And you'll appreciate this, Josh. There's a lot to be said for making more money and having fewer clients.
Yeah.
And the ability to scale and take pressure off of your staff, because one of the biggest challenges when you get to be our size is staffing, right?
Yeah.
Like where do you find a Facebook ads manager? What school did they go to, right? Mm-hmm. So I just talked to somebody, PPC management position. They want $120,000 a year to start, right? Right. So we'd rather have fewer clients paying us more money and manage those clients, because then the other thing that comes into play is your account manager position, client success manager. For us, that magic number, that sweet spot's going to be about 25 clients, right? Yep. And once you get over that, you start to have diminishing returns to the client, which leads to attrition. So guess what? Let's keep those clients happy, keep it manageable. And again, where do you find good client success managers, Josh? They don't grow on trees.
Right. You got to build them. Yeah, you got to build them.
Right. That's right.
So, great stuff, guys. Give us a 1 in the comments if you're getting value. I think this has been great so far, Josh. So we've talked about kind of how you got into this space. We talked about what you're selling on a consistent basis. Can you talk a little bit about how, where the clients are coming from and what marketing strategies are working best for you in your business?
We actually started doing more robust keyword bundles for ourselves around the country, in pockets.
So
of
eating a little bit of your own dog food, it sounds.
In the last month, I got 2 calls from the Boston area. They found us searching for law firm marketing agencies in Boston, right?
Love that.
So, oh, wow, this stuff really works, right? Also in Miami. It's funny. I had Sean Denon send me a screen capture one day because he wanted to see where he was up in Melbourne, which is a 2-hour drive for me, 2.5-hour drive north of me. And Law Firm Marketing Pros right there. So, a little bit of that, not a ton of it. We do have an ad campaign, a branded ad campaign. So if somebody types in Law Firm Marketing Pros, Scorpion doesn't populate, or one of the other ones don't populate above us. And then it's word of mouth, and probably more importantly, probably 50% of our leads are coming from, and it's not even a strategic alliance or a JV. It is just a group of attorneys who, and that number's now up to 600, Josh, I heard yesterday. Wow. Yeah. So there's 600 attorneys in the group. They have an unofficial Facebook group that is not moderated by the owner and director of that group. And we consistently, somebody will put in, oh, I'm so frustrated with my marketing agency. Does anybody have a referral? They get 10, call Josh at LawFirmMarketingPros. They have their quarterly meetings. I sometimes go to those meetings. Our name gets dropped in those meetings. And then every once in a while, I'll get an unsolicited testimonial from that. Somebody will just drop in, hey, had my best month ever. I'm using LawFirmMarketingPros. And that's just a consistent flow of leads. So typically I'll close somewhere between 4 and 6 clients a month. Let's say 1 to 2 of those are enhancements. And that's a nice steady, and when you're talking about $4 or $5 grand, it's, that's a nice, steady, manageable. That's one of the other things I learned from you on, day 1 of the intensive. It's got to be manageable. Because if not, the wheels are going to fall off. Yeah.
So I love that. So like doing some of your own SEO, guys, if you haven't started to put out content and position yourself online so people can find you, should absolutely be doing that. What was the second thing you just said?
So the keyword bundles,
your branded search campaign, word of mouth, right? You do such great work and you guys are so world-class at what you do that your clients refer you and they talk to their friends about it. And then the other that I think everybody should look at, especially if you're past 30,000, is really finding the groups where your ideal prospects hang out, right? And there's levels to this. Like there are mastermind groups in every niche. There are associations in every niche. And if you can break into those groups, even if it's cursorily, like Josh is here, you can start to become the known name and become omnipresent in that world, which creates a vicious cycle of new client opportunities without chasing, right? Without having to rely so much on cold emails and cold calling and this whole chase process, which is a low close ratio, low power positioning.
That's right. That's right. So I come into those conversations as, the de facto thought leader in the space, right? I didn't have to write the book. I didn't have to be the guy standing on stage, because guess what? I've got umpteen number of clients that are part of this group or organization. And we're going to really look to expand that this year. So just have to get a couple things in place, but we're going to look to expand on that. So
love it. So those are some of the client strategies that are working to, just have massive growth. Let's talk a little bit about retention, because from what I've heard, working with attorneys, even if you do good work, it's pretty hard to retain. Like, what are some of the things you guys do from a retention process perspective?
It's funny, on my strategy session last night, I had a strategy session from 7 to 9:30 last night, right? And she said to me, I don't know how you deal with attorneys. so yeah, it's challenging. So high touch, right? You've got to touch them. You've got to communicate with them on a consistent basis and manage their expectations. And we're constantly working on that. And one of the things, it's funny, millennials have I'm a baby boomer, so millennials have a different mindset than Gen X and baby boomers. So I have to tell them, pick up the phone, right? Call them. We are starting, I think it's the first session, we've hired a customer service training specialist who, after we go through the training, I actually met him through one of my legacy agency clients. He took their customer service and intake from an plastic surgeon from about an 18-19% close rate to a 40% close rate.
Wow.
Right. So they happened to invite me for day 1 of their training, and I just sat in on it, and the guy left an impression on me. So once I go through that, Josh, I will absolutely facilitate an introduction. I just want to make sure it's as good as I think it's going to be. So that is, I think, really important. So customer service, managing expectations, and then delivering results. And even to the point when Google makes an algorithmic change and we see a dip in rankings, pick up the phone and say, hey, You're going to see a dip in calls. Would you like to offset that by increasing your click budget by 500 or 1,000 over the next 2 weeks or whatever the time period is, and giving them the option. And something as simple as that makes all the difference in the world. We've gone from once a month meetings for the first 90 days to bi-weekly meetings to now weekly meetings for the first 90 days, just to continue to touch. I'm doing something. I picked this term up from that group, and you know who it is. They call it a gas call. What's a gas call? It's a give a shit call. So I call them and I say, or I'll send them an email wanting to schedule a gas call with you. They'll know what it is, and they love it, right? I actually had an attorney say to me a month ago. He said, I've been a member here 4 years. I've never gotten a gas call from. And here I am making the gas call. So something like that, it's what you do, Josh. You delight. You constantly surprise and delight us. And that's part of keeping retention. We also did something else that I mentioned probably about a year ago, and we implemented on the back end a retention bonus, quarterly bonus program for our staff members. So that if our retention is 97%, they get X, 98% they get Y, 99% they get Z, and 100% they get X, Y, and Z, right? So that keeps them highly motivated to keep everybody happy, which is not easy to do.
No,
so the other thing that we do, Josh, is we have a red, yellow, green zone, so that when a client is in the green zone, everything's good. If yellow, we've got to look out for this, that, and the other. And using the project management makes it so much easier, obviously, with the project management, some of the other stuff. And then in red zone clients, it's all hands on deck. So and when that happens, we let them know that we're doing this. So I've got a client, for example, who didn't tell us when we onboarded him 6 months ago that he went through 4 name changes in the last 2 years.
Oh gosh.
That's like the kiss of death.
Yeah, that's tough for SEO.
Yeah, and he told us, it's like, how come I'm not ranking yet? And it's been 6 months, and like, well, oh, I forgot to tell you, right? And well, okay, so we're going above and beyond, and I sent him an email saying that, look, this is the plan. I'm not involved, but this is what you're doing. You're going to get an update weekly from Andy and the team, and he's happy. He said, okay, great, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Let me know if there's anything else I can do to help.
Yeah, so I think some powerful insights here, guys. And a one in the comments, if you got some takeaways from what he just said from a retention perspective, first of all, is that onboard process, right? If you really surprise and delight them out of the gates, that sets the pace for the relationship. Like even if you provide great results, but you don't have a great onboard, you're gonna struggle. Being higher communication at the beginning, like not just going to, okay, we're monthly gonna meet, but literally like meeting weekly until the ship is off the ground, so to speak, and really until they start to feel comfortable and happy with what's going on. Finding the problems in advance, right? When you see something that's going wrong, letting the client know proactively instead of waiting for them. And then when there is a problem and there is an issue, whether it's your fault or not, up the communication until things are back on track. Like, go to that weekly session until the things are back on track and they feel confident and happy again. I think those are some salient strategies that will really impact your ability to retain clients in any vertical.
And I'll add one more thing, and that is, and it's painful, but we all make mistakes. We're human. And when someone on your staff makes a mistake, either myself or Andy will actually call the client and apologize. We take ownership and we apologize. And let me add actually one more thing about that. So sometimes there are things that happen that are outside of our control, right? So even though it's not our fault, it's still our problem, right? And that to me, and identifying that with our staff, saying, hey, it's not my fault that happened. Okay, because his staff member sent me the wrong picture for Facebook post, whatever. Okay, but it's still our problem. So let's take ownership of it and do what we need to do to fix it.
Yeah, love that. And a great example from prior there was the guy's got 6 address changes. So it's not our fault that he did that. And, we can't get him ranked on the map, but it's our problem, right? Because they're paying us for this service. So we have to go much deeper to solve this. And otherwise they're not going to be happy. They're not going to be satisfied.
That's right. And it's going to cost us money, right? Because we've got to put more effort towards getting him the rank, but that's okay because we want to keep a long-term client. And guess what? He may end up being our biggest fan, right?
Yeah. So good. So we talked about landing clients. We talked about delivery. We talked about retention. Guys, be sure to thank Josh. Josh, this has been tremendous. Congratulations on your continued growth and success. Congratulations on being the agency of the year for Seven Figure Agency. And thank you so much for being such an amazing mentor and your willingness, not just to, like crush it, but to like look back at those that are like kind of 2-3 steps behind you and help them and kind of share what's worked for you and coach them along. You're having a huge impact in your business, in your family life, and in the clients that you serve. So thank you so much. And be sure to tag Josh and thank him for everything he shared today.
Well, thank you, Josh. It wouldn't be possible. First of all, congratulations to you and the phenomenal growth of Seven Figure Agency. It's just tremendous. I love watching it happen. I'm so honored to even be part of it as a mentor. It's just been tremendous. And congratulations to you. And thank you so much for having me. And continued success for everybody, right? It should be a win-win for everybody, right? So let's all lift each other up.
Awesome. So one last thing as we wrap up, if you have one last piece of wisdom to share with that agency owner, maybe that's at the $30,000 to $50,000 level, and they're just trying to figure out, what they should do, and they're kind of stuck. Like, what would that last piece of wisdom be for that agency owner?
Multiple things come to mind, but you have as a seven-figure agency member, you have a tremendous amount of brain power and resources. So don't be afraid to get help. Leverage it and use it, because you're always one. What was the story? Was it from I want to say Think and Grow Rich? Was it? You're always 3 inches away from the goal, right? Just keep on doing what you're doing because it's working. Don't try to be overly cute or creative outside of the box, and I had this conversation with a member not too long ago. Okay, they want to do something different. This stuff works. We're not the only ones that are doing it, right? How many agencies now do you have that have grown past 7 figures and that are accelerating? And I'm telling you, in 3 years, you're going to have at least 10 members that are at 8 figures. It's going to happen. Yeah. So work the system, get the help. No man is an island. So, don't think you have all the answers. Don't be shy, get help, listen, be humble. That's probably the best thing I can say. Just be humble, right?
I love it.
So
be humble, ask for help when you need it. Keep pressing forward. I think the story you were looking for was acres of diamonds, right? You're right there. If you keep digging, the diamonds are right there. Just keep pressing forward.
Right. That's right. And it's true. They are. They were there for us, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'll tell you, for those of you who are struggling and through it, and I've heard so many stories of some of the impact, and it's been tremendous because it's life-changing for so many people. So, you're in a position, I'm in a position, I personally don't think I'm ever going to have to worry about money again. And what a great place to be in. And you're bringing on clients that are, less than $10,000 a month into 7-figure agency. They're struggling on a day-to-day basis, right? So to have that kind of impact, and it's a life-changing feeling. And again, that allows you to have impact. It changes the whole dynamic of my family and the way I live my life. And it's not that I'm out spending money, and it's just a wonderful feeling. Again, I just can't thank you enough, Josh, for being who you are and doing what you do.
Thanks, man. More money, more freedom, and a bigger impact in the life and everything you're doing. I think that sums up this interview perfectly. Josh, thanks so much. Congratulations. And we'll see you again real soon.
Great. All right. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening, guys.
And ABC.
Always be closing. And Josh wears a blazer whenever he's on a closing call. So it looks like you either just closed someone or you're headed to close somebody next.
Both.
Okay. You're the man. That's a great way to close it. Always be closing, guys.